We are talking about the Detroit Pistons. I was going to talk about the Raptors because I was banking on the Hawks winning last night to talk about them, but you cannot ignore what the Detroit Pistons are doing. But Fetty, don't worry, we'll talk about the Raptors at a later date because they are hooping. I think they're like 9-1 in their last 10 games.
Really?
They're like on
last
fire.
10, 8-2.
8-2. So I think it might be 8 in their last 9. But I believe they're third or fourth in the Eastern Conference. So shout out to the Toronto Raptors. Shout out to Fetty. Shout out Bi. He's hooping.
Yeah, he
and
is.
like it feeds into my agenda before
Once you leave New Orleans.
you have well that too, but you have a complete team around you, so he doesn't have to do all the work.
Yeah.
So his body's staying intact. So we'll talk about the Raptors soon, but let's talk about the Pistons, man. My goodness gracious, they have won 11 straight games. Let me say that again. 11 in a row. Just to put things into perspective for you, on November 17th, 2023, the Pistons lost their 10th game in a row. They went on to lose 28 straight. This year, on November 17th, the same exact day was when they won their 10th straight game.
Wow.
It's incredible to see what the Pistons are doing this season. I have some stats and some numbers for y'all. Obviously, they're first in the Eastern Conference right now. They're at 13-2 record, which is just insane just to even think about. This ties them for the longest win streak they've had since the 2007-2008 season, and that season they won 59 games. It was the first seed in the Eastern Conference. And right now they sit atop the East. Could this be the case once again? Could we see this team win almost 60 games? That just putting that into perspective sounds crazy.
No way.
I have no idea.
And, 2 years ago, that same season they lost 28 in a row. They only won 14 games. So if they win tomorrow, that already ties their total from what they did for an entire season in 23-24, which is just nuts to even think about. And you remember how traumatic it was during during that losing streak. Cade was on the brink of tears after some of those games, and you just saw how happy and relieved he was when that streak ended. And yes, I did the strange thing of watching back the highlights of almost all of those 28 games over the past week. And one thing I noticed about those games, they were barely getting blown out. They had the lead in a good chunk of those games, and it just kept slipping away in the fourth quarter and at the end. And it was just really rough to kind of just, see them go through this type of, season. And I'm a firm believer of you go through those rock bottom moments to get better. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger, right? And that's exactly what they're kind of doing. And this season, the Pistons are they're 13th in offensive rating, which they were like bottom, like 30th for the past like 2 years. And this year they're third in defensive rating. And no, they're second in defensive rating. Sorry, I have my numbers mixed up. So they're 13th in offensive rating. They're second in defensive rating, which equates to fourth in net rating.
Wow.
During this 11-game winning streak, they are seventh in offensive rating. Their offensive rating is almost 120. Their defensive rating is third at 109.1, which equates to a mind-boggling 10.5 net rating, which is top 5 in the NBA right now, which is just insane to even just think about. And this season, they're shooting 34.6% from three-point range, which is 22nd in the NBA. So it's not even really that good. But remember, this team has an early 2000s feel. So they're not going to be the ones like Boston shooting 78 threes a game. They're going to be the ones shooting less and kind of attacking you from the interior. And from two-point range, they're top 15. They're 55% from the field in two-point range. And all that equates to 48% from the field, which is top 11 in the league. Now, during this streak is where things take a big improvement because they're shooting 35% from three-point range during this streak, which is a little bit better. It's 19th in the league. Two-point percentage is almost 60%. That takes them into the top 5, and they're 50% from the field, which is third best in the entire league since October 29th, which was the first win of this 11-game winning streak. So they're doing really well from there. Shall we talk about some players?
Yes.
Really only have 2 players to talk about here. We're going to start with the man of the hour, and that is Cade Cunningham. And I find myself, it's kind of funny because I felt so bad for Cade Cunningham during these first few seasons. I was like, they got to trade him at some point. Not even because I don't think he can bring a championship to Detroit. It's just I don't know if they're ever going to be in that situation. And thankfully, they're in that situation now. And I just can't stop glazing the guy. He's just too damn good. He's the truth. And during this streak, Cade Cunningham is averaging 31 points, 5 rebounds, 11 assists, 2 steals and a block on 46% from the field. We know he hasn't been the most efficient. He went like 14 for like 46 during that one of those games. It was, kind of insane. And I have some tweets from the last 5 games. He's the 5th player this century with 5 straight games of 25 or more points, 10 or more assists, joining Russell Westbrook, Trae Young, Luka Doncic, and Nikola Jokic. I mean, that's like pretty impressive company to be, in with arguably all Hall of Famers. I do believe all 4 of them will get in at this point. Trae Young's maybe on the borderline of not getting it, but even still, he's a perennial all-star. That's just how good he is. And then, Cade Cunningham hasn't even played in all of these games. That's been the even crazier thing about this. He's missed, I think, like 5 games with some injury. Jalen Duren's missed some time. Asar Thompson's missed games.
Wow.
Jaden Ivey hasn't even been playing,
Right.
which is just crazy. And let's talk about Antoine's guy, Jalen Duren.
Yeah, please.
All right, like you said the other day, our buying stocks are doing very well at the moment. Want to go check that out? The link's down below. Go watch both of the episodes. Jalen Duren during this streak is averaging 24 points, 13 rebounds, 2 assists with a steal and a block on 70% from the field.
Wow.
70. That's like Jokic levels of automatic. And this dude is like the total opposite player. Nikola Jokic is this smooth, finesse-like playmaker with the softest touch. Jalen Duren is just going to bust his ass in the paint, body you out of the state, and just yam it right on your head top. Yeah. And that's kind of just how he operates, regarding him. Jalen Duren this month in November is averaging 24 points, 14 rebounds on 72% from the field, and the Pistons are 7-0 during this stretch. And obviously, one of the games he had 30 points and 15 rebounds, and he was on 90% shooting during that game. The only other 4 players to do that since the NBA merger to have 30 or more points, 15 or more rebounds on 90% shooting is Dwight Howard, Alonzo Mourning, Sean Kemp, and I want to see if you know this guy, Gio. He played for the Cavs back in the 90s. His name is Brad Daugherty.
Oh, yeah. Daugherty.
So those are the only 5 players to ever do that on 90% from the field. I believe he missed 1 shot in that game. And Jalen Duren is now the betting favorite to win Most Improved Player.
Wow.
And he is a heavy favorite. 33% chance to win the award. The next closest is Josh Giddey at 17%. And then Denny Avdi is 3rd, below 10. So pretty impressive stuff.
I wish there was 3 awards to give out because all 3 of those guys deserve it.
Exactly, yeah. They're really
Duren is, I would say, he's in first, for sure.
Oh, absolutely. I think him and Josh Giddey have clearly been the 2 that have been, improving drastically. Denny's been kind of in that Jalen Johnson conversation of he's been this good for a while. But that's essentially everything I have regarding the Detroit Pistons. Detroit basketball is back better than ever. And I guess we're going to start with you, Antoine, because, obviously you saw the light with Jalen Duren, and you're seeing how well this team is playing. And I know a lot of Knicks fans have been criticizing their strength of schedule, but they clearly just beat a really good team last night. They've beaten the Magic before. They beat the Bulls. What are your thoughts on what you're seeing from the Detroit Pistons this year? How does it differ from last year with the big improvement they made?
Yeah, I mean, as a Knicks fan, I really don't care about strength of schedule. You play who's in front of you. Knicks fans, stop crying. Please. Okay? They don't make the schedule. The NBA does. Blame them. Listen, right now this team is clicking on all cylinders, and we haven't mentioned the guy's name yet, but Trajan Langdon. This man should be given the keys to Detroit. Just because, listen, I'm a fan of unsung heroes as well. Bringing in Duncan Robinson looks really like first, second year him on the Heat. His 3-point percentage is over 40%.
Yeah.
When was the last time we saw that when he was on the Heat? He kind of declined, but Duncan's looking good. He started all 15 games so far. Of course, bring back Paul Reed. Paul Reed had like 20 and 13 a few games ago.
Crazy.
Him and Isaiah Stewart have been the perfect backup bigs for Duren.
I don't see Paul Reed as like a center, but he isn't. And again, Tobias has been out since like the first week. No, Asar has been in and out. LeVert has missed a few games. Ivy, of course, has been out all year long. Marcus Sasser is kind of a rotation guy, but Where Langdon hit is with 3 guys. Two of them were from the draft. One of them is also just another veteran guy that has been lighting Javonte Green.
Yeah. As soon as he
He's
signed
hooping.
him,
What Cleveland? Why was this guy not playing last year?
I mean, that team is really stacked. They really did not have the minutes for
Javonte
him.
Green dropped 20 plus off the bench in the past 2 games.
Efficiently.
And he's on a vet min. And then again, draft wise, I know we're talking about Danish Jenkins. Watch out for Shaz Lanier.
Yeah.
Shaz Lanier is a Tennessee guy. Last year, Tennessee was borderline almost like a 1-2 seed, and Lanier was their best player. 3-point shooter, automatic. Now he's getting playing time, not starting, but bench time, and he's putting up, 9, 8, 10. That's going to go only up and up for him.
I mean, in his last 5 games, on 18 minutes a game, he's averaging 6.5 points, 2.5 rebounds, 1.5 assists on 36% from 3-point range, and he's taken 5 attempts a game. That's how good he's been playing.
Shaz, when they drafted him, I was like, oh, they got to steal if he's playing for them. Because I watched him when he was at Tennessee. He's a baller, 3-point guy, hungry. And then getting to Danish Jenkins, of course, who I have on fantasy now.
This kid,
What a story.
This kid's nuts.
Is
What
he
a
the guy with
story.
the dreads?
Yeah.
St.
He's a
John's,
point guard, yeah.
St. John's guy, right in our backyard, undrafted,
Hooper.
finds himself in Detroit, immediately looks like one of the best rookies we've seen, and is already one of the most comfortable rookies playing
Yeah.
games in the NBA this season.
Yeah. In his last
Like-
5 games, he's averaging over 20 points.
Wow.
7.5 assists, 4 rebounds, 2 steals. Ready for the shooting splits? 50% from the field, 44% from 3, 80% from the free throw line on 35 minutes a game. And for a lot of you people watching, you are making more money than Danish Jenkins. His salary is $85,300 for the season.
Yeah.
He's making less money than your father, than your mother, than you, than your brother. There are people making 6 figures,
Wow.
making more money than Danish Jenkins, which is
crazy.
crazy. He's playing like he's a $50 million guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
How tall is he, by the way?
I don't even know. He's like,
I'll
He's
pull it up.
small,
on ESPN.
right?
6'4", 165.
Oh, never
yeah.
mind.
Yeah. But listen, Langdon, I don't know if you saw much in like Javonte Green. Took a shot on him, Jenkins, same thing. Sometimes you hit on undrafted free agents. This is one guy right here. Lanier in the second round was great. Of course, bringing in Dunk. Bringing back Paul Reed. You're waiting on some guys, some injury. Levert, we'll see what happens when he comes back. Still no idea with Malik Beasley, but right now it looks like they don't need him. But, again, just Langdon hitting on these guys. This is what good GMs are made of. You need to be able to scout talent that is not already known by
Right. Others.
29 other general managers.
Right.
I.e. Cade Cunningham, i.e. Jalen Duren.
Well, everyone knew about Cade, but they just...
oh, yeah.
But listen, Javonte, vet, just was getting tossed around. Yeah. Find a home for him. He's dropping 20-point games like it's no issue. The rookies, same thing. It just depends if they're into the right system. Yeah. JB's building on Dennis and Shaz. Wait for Shaz. He's going to get a lot more playing time. I have a good feeling about that. And then obviously when Ivy, Levert come back, they may be a little bit less playing time, but still great bench pieces regardless, because depth is what is needed. And when you come playoff time, those guys off the bench, all the experience they're going to have in the regular season with this team, that's going to be a major issue for us as a Knicks fan.
I got one question.
Another thing, and listen, watch out for a star trade, the deadline for these guys.
One question for you, Anthony. So Ivy, is he fully healthy to play?
No, he's out.
He's not.
He's been cleared for 5-on-5.
Clear for 5-on-5, so he's getting there.
He's getting there. Give him another couple weeks.
In another couple weeks, few weeks, month, when he is healthy and ready to play, but the Pistons are still playing great basketball, what do you do? Do you play Ivy over the guys that have been producing big time, like the guy you just talked about from St. John, or Javonte Green, whatever his name is?
Listen, Ivy's getting paid a lot of money, so you have to put him.
You have to?
Because
But what would you do as the coach?
I would put
You're
Ivy
going to ride with the hot guy?
I would absolutely put Ivy in.
I would
Really?
put Ivy in.
Absolutely, yeah.
Ivy gives you experience, may give you a better chance to win in some scenarios. And then you just ride Dennis, Shaz, Javonte off the bench like they've been doing for a little bit. I mean, Dennis, maybe, throw him in some lineups, who knows. But you got to start Ivy. Ivy brings so much to the table for them. And, that's a guy that needs to be starting. Same with Tobias. Dunk's going to go back to the bench when Tobias comes back. So,
But they've been playing so well.
Well, I understand
without.
that. Yeah,
And
but,
even better, I would argue without these guys.
But-
Well, I mean, they haven't played. Ivy hasn't played since January.
I know
of last
that,
year.
but Tobias, I'm speaking about, and then
Well, yeah.
when Ivy was playing, the Pistons weren't good. Let's be honest.
Well, they
Right.
weren't yet. They found
Yeah.
themselves after
Right.
that point.
But with Tobias and Ivy, those guys give you better shots to win on the court compared to some rookies.
Okay.
Yeah.
Obviously because of experience, and they're your starting 5 core. They got to get their spots back, and you can always interchange them if something's not working well. I mean, I'm sure Ivy and Tobias are going to be on a minute restriction regardless coming back, so you're going to have to work your way up back to playing full strength. So we're not going to see Dennis, Shaz, or Javonte Green lose any minute, momentum wise at all.
So Tyler, I also have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
JB Bickerstaff.
Yeah.
What's your assessment on how he's doing? How he's coaching so far?
I think he's doing even better than he did last year. I think managing the minutes of these guys is the key thing. And the fact that you're winning games without Cade in the lineup, without both him and Duran in the lineup, without Asar Thompson, without a lot of these guys, it's been kind of vibes. It's just been, starting Dennis Jenkins and Chaz Lanier along with, the rest of your guys, or starting Duncan Robinson, or kind of playing around with the lineups. It's comfortable. Nothing feels like, yes, Cade Cunningham is your best player, but it doesn't feel like Armageddon when he's out. And that's even like when Jokic goes to the bench, it's like Armageddon. So when you're without your best player, that's why I credit the Hawks a lot too right now. Without Trae Young, they look fantastic. Yeah. And when Cade comes back in, when Trae Young comes back in, when any of these guys, we saw with the Lakers last night when LeBron came back in, he just made the team better with his playmaking and him being there with his gravity. It just makes the team flow a lot more, which leads to comebacks during deficits. It leads to further blowouts during close games. It just adds something. And Jaden Ivey and Cade Cunningham are such a good duo because Cade's one of the best playmakers in the league. I think he's like top 3. And when you look at Jaden Ivey, brilliant off-ball scorer. And that's the kind of thing you need with your guard room, is that you don't want players that do the same thing, Phoenix Suns. You don't want players that do the same stuff. That's why Beal and Booker didn't work. But when you have a playmaking guard and you have a guard that can just shoot and probe and play well off ball and space the floor, that's what you need. And look, it might not work with Jaden Ivey, but JB Bickerstaff's going to figure it out. He's going to have depth in this team going into the season. We saw how well OKC and Indiana did last year using their bench. We're talking like 10 guys deep. We're not talking about 6. And that's kind of what the Pistons had last year. They really didn't have much to kind of resort to. And now,
they do.
If you have a starting 5 of Cade Cunningham, Jaden Ivey, Asar Thompson, Tobias Harris, and Jalen Duren, as far as like true trustable playoff guys, I'm looking at Isaiah Stewart, obviously, even though he might start. I'm looking at Duncan Robinson, who's played in 2 finals before and has excelled in both of them. I'm looking at a guy like Javonte Green, who's a vet. For those of you who don't know who Javonte Green is, he was the guy in the mic'd up with Jason Tatum saying, when I get a cut, I'm top 5. So that's exactly who that man is.
That's good. That's a good that's ball knowledge right there.
Exactly. It's a good little trivia thing.
Yeah.
And then, I'm not sure if Dennis Jenkins or Chaz Lanier will get playoff minutes. I doubt they will. But already that's like 8 guys that you can resort to and rely on. And I probably already missed a few more names that they could even go to. Levert too, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's already like 8 or 9 players.
We got guys.
I really like the way this team is looking going forward, and I'm very excited to see what they can do. And credit to JB Bickerstaff. They look really good. And like I said, we always see a team finish just kind of midway through the standings the year prior, and then they just shoot up. This year it was them. Last year it was Cleveland. The year before it was OKC. The year before that, I believe it was, I don't remember. And even last year, you can say Houston, too.
Yeah.
Houston went from out of the playoffs to the 2 seed in the West. So it's always interesting. It's always fun. I'm glad it's finally an East team, a team that we think can do well. And I still have that little clip from our live stream back in June during the draft when we predicted the finals for next year. And I said it would be Thunder versus Pistons.
God.
Let's see what happens.
Well, I mean, listen. My prediction in the standings, I predicted them to finish 2nd or 3rd.
You had them 3rd.
3rd?
Yeah.
All right. I mean, it's looking pretty good. You guys had them 5th, 6th.
I had 4th or 5th.
Yeah, I just didn't think. I thought they would take a step back.
No,
I was debating between 3rd and 6th, and I wound up going 6th.
Yeah.
So I'll hold my hands
no
up.
way.
I was wrong. But yeah, that's essentially the Detroit Pistons. They're looking really good. Cade Cunningham, congratulations, just signed an exclusive shoe deal with Nike.
Yeah.
Very happy for him. And look, he was crying his eyes out 2 years ago after losing 28 straight, and all that hard work's paying off.